The Penn State Nittany Lions dominate the Fiesta Bowl college football playoff game, beating the Boise State Broncos by a score of 31-14. In my preview and prediction video that I had dropped about a week ago for this game, one of my keys to the game was that the winner of the game would win the line of scrimmage, and that is exactly what happened. My prediction for this game was Penn State 27, Boise State 13, so a little bit under what the final was, but it was a pretty darn accurate prediction. Really quick, we have a lot to get to in this instant reaction. I have a couple of announcements. The first of which is that the channel here is going to be going through a rebrand. So Big Ten Quick Talk and the logo for my channel will be changed within the next couple days or so. I think you guys will like what I have picked out to be the face of the channel for years to come. At least that's the hope. Also, Happy New Year, and what a better way to ring in the new year than subscribing, as it is the best and most efficient way to support the channel. Liking the video would help out a ton as it gets this video into the algorithm for more college football fans. Lastly, comment for me your thoughts and your reaction to this game right now. Comment them down below. Are you surprised by the outcome, or is this what you predicted? Let me hear your thoughts down below. All right, let's dive right into this instant reaction of the Fiesta Bowl. Okay, let's dive right into my thoughts on this game immediately following the game here as I recorded this pretty much the second that the game ended. Let's start with Boise State. They never got G&T going early, and I think that's kind of what lost them the game. Penn State played it really well. They loaded the box, and they have far superior players than players in the Mountain West who are loading the box against G&T. They wrapped up, they gang tackled, they did what they were supposed to do, that being Penn State's defense. But if Boise State could have gotten G&T going earlier on in the game, just a little something, it was 1 yard, 2 yard gains. If those could have been 4 or 5 yard gains instead of 1 to 2 yard gains, it would be way closer in my opinion. At halftime, G&T had about 45 yards. So if they would have got G&T going a little bit early, and once they got him going, it was too late. You know, he ripped off a 26, 27-yard run on 3rd and forever to bolster them. But then I'm pretty sure on that drive there was a pick. It was just not happening at that point. Which leads me into that second point is that Boise State was never built to come from behind. They don't have elite pass catchers on the outside. They don't have an elite quarterback. I'll go on a tangent about Maddox Madsen in a second, but Boise State was never built to come from behind. And if it had been the opposite and Boise State had won against Penn State's not built to come from behind either. These two teams are built very, very identical in what they are. They're not an identical team by any means. I think Aller's a much better quarterback than Madsen. I think there's a lot going for the Penn State defense rather than the Broncos defense, but be that as it may, Boise State was never built to come from behind. They don't have the elite guys on the outside. They don't have the elite quarterback to help, throw for 3 touchdowns and score 24 points in the fourth quarter to come back from down 17. They don't have a guy to do that. So in order to win, the formula is you keep it at least within 1 score, or you have an outright lead going into half and going into the third quarter, and then you got a chance. But obviously that's not how it happened. Madsen was great at times, and he was terrible at times. He is a very inconsistent quarterback who doesn't have the talent of a guy like Drew Aller. Drew Aller was inconsistent, but he's way more talented than Madsen. Not to say Madsen's a bad quarterback. He threw for 300 yards, but he took 3 sacks, which resulted in a loss of 26 yards. He threw 3 interceptions. And ultimately, to me, that's what lost Boise State the game. They didn't get clutch passing at all from their quarterback. It was inconsistent, and it just wasn't great all around. Did his wide receivers help him? No. His wide receivers didn't help him at all. There wasn't that much separation, and they're not high tier or top tier or even middle tier wide receivers. Their number 1 receiver, Cameron Camper, if he transfers to even a middling Big Ten school, he's not starting. He's not going to Illinois and starting. He's not going to Iowa. Well, Iowa's a different story. He's not going to a place like Nebraska, let's say. That's not. He's not even going to Kansas, and he's starting. So that's the level that he has to deal with. It's just on a different level, and a lot of this playoff stuff will be addressed in another video. I don't want to get on a rant about it now. Let's look at Penn State. Let's be optimistic here. Penn State. Drew Aller was inconsistent at times. He was 13 for 25 passing. He took 4 sacks. He did not throw an interception, which helped him out immensely in this game. But Drew Aller's inconsistency was an issue throughout the game. They could have won this easily 45-7 easily. But Drew Aller and a couple of the play calls were questionable. Like a 3rd and 1, you have an advantage on the line of scrimmage, which we'll get to in a second. And your running backs are just raring to go. They're both amazing running backs. We'll talk about them in a second as well with the line of scrimmage topic right above the Drew Aller thing. You can see it on the analysis page. Why are you passing? Run the ball. If you're in a 3rd and short situation, you run the dang ball because they were not stopping Allen and Singleton behind the line of scrimmage as long as Penn State kept it up, what they were doing. So that's something that I had personally a beef with in the play calling department, but Drew Aller missed throws. He just missed throws. And when you go up against either Georgia or Notre Dame, you can't miss throws. Because those missed throws, Boise State didn't have any picks in this game, but I guarantee you, Georgia's secondary is going to take care of that. Georgia's secondary is going to take the ball away. Notre Dame's secondary is going to take the ball away. So whoever you play going forward, Drew Aller has to clean up his game. Let's look on the very bright side here. The line of scrimmage, man, was just dominated by Penn State. The defensive line brought in certain pressures, whatnot. They got to Maddox Madsen. Like we said, they had 3 sacks on Madsen. A lot of pressures, a lot of forced errors, including with the interception throws. A lot of it was forced because of the defensive line. And on the offensive line played way better than I thought that they would play running the ball. They're a run block team first. They had a little bit of trouble in the pass blocking scenario. That can be fixed. You just got to really hone in on that for these big matchups coming up for Penn State. Katron Allen ran for 134 yards. He averaged 8 yards a carry. Nicholas Singleton averaged 7 yards a carry, went for 87 yards, 5 less attempts than Katron Allen, and Nick Singleton had the touchdown. And both of these running backs were absolute beasts in this game, monsters. Both of them ripped off 50-plus yard 50-plus yard runs, and they were just amazing in this game as well. Tyler Warren did a lot for Penn State in terms of blocking, in terms of getting open, creating any sort of separation he could to come down with the ball. He led the team in yards through the air, although there weren't that many. There were only 171, but he had 66 of them. So it was just an all-around great effort from Penn State. You thought for a second that Boise State was going to pull ahead at some point. That's what I thought. But Penn State took care of business. James Franklin coached this team to another impressive win. Let's talk about this. It's not a huge signature marquee win, but you know what this win is? It is a big win. It is a win that is going to keep recruits with the program. That's going to keep players with the program. That's going to keep morale up. The consequences of losing this game were astronomical for Penn State and James Franklin. James Franklin losing this game there are going to be people out there calling for his head, even if that's unjustified. There are going to be recruits less interested in the program. Winning this game was huge for the program as a whole. It wasn't huge for James Franklin's resume as a whole. When he's dying, he's not going to think back on that Boise State win and be like, "Ah, yes, that is my signature win." He should be aspiring for a lot more, and he's going to get that opportunity later in this playoff bracket. But overall, great. Just a big win for Penn State. That's all I have today. I try and keep these instant reactions under 10 minutes. Sometimes it goes a minute or two longer, but just so that You all can hear my thoughts straight after the game in a timely manner. So let me know your thoughts down below. As I said before, subscribe to the channel, and all New Year's Day, I will be putting out content for the 3 games going on. I'm going to have analysis for all of the non-college football playoff games. We're just starting up with a lot of recruiting and transfer portal stuff going up on the channel. Like I said, there's going to be a big rebrand of the channel. Things are looking great heading into this new year. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.